Rachel Hopmayer joining us live now from across the street from Lambeau Field. And Rachel, you had a chance to sit down one-on-one with Preston Smith earlier this week.
Yeah, Brandon, with 3 seasons in the books here in the green and gold for Preston Smith and 7 in the NFL, Smith says he's been able to grow much more into his veteran self as a man and as a football player. He says that this chapter in Green Bay has allowed him to grow in more ways than he could have imagined on and off the field, from getting married this offseason to becoming a stronger leader in the locker room to reuniting with his former defensive coordinator that allows him to play at his best.
Year 7, what has year 7 been like for you?
Man, it's been great, man. You know, throughout the years of being a young guy and now being the guy they call OG, I didn't never see that coming. I used to always joke with the guys that was like on year 6 and 7. I used to call them old. Now I'm the guy that everybody calls old, and I'm the OG now.
Packers fans love you, obviously, but they also love you as part of the Smith brothers tandem. But you've been playing without Z all year. You know, how has that helped you evolve as a man, as a leader on the line?
You know, playing without Z is very detrimental. You know, I love him as like a brother, like you said. Like we're close on and off the field. Not having him there and being with his leadership role that he's been this past couple of years, you know, that co-leadership role, me having to step up into a bigger leader and make sure I lead these guys by example as well as my play, and showing them that, you know, hey, look, man, it doesn't matter who makes the big play as long as somebody makes it.
You know, restructured your contract in the last season. If we're talking trials and tribulations, we're riding that high kind of again. You know, now we're talking about a significant number of sack bonuses. Does that motivate you from last year when we look at how far we've come?
No, I don't think it really motivates me. Last year, I felt like there's a lot of opportunities I wish I had to keep my numbers high just because for my personal legacy and my personal goals. This year, I don't think I really have any motivation for that because I just feel like once you're winning, everything else will fall into play. Because I've never been a selfish player. I've always been a team guy, team first mentality. And I know if I just handle my job, then good things will happen. I know if I just continue to pray, to pray to God, and He's going to continue to bless me. I continue to put in the work and listen to what my coach is telling me that good things are going to happen. That's my mindset each and every week.
And the coaches have changed, schemes have changed. You're being put in a better position that's more useful to your skills. You arguably knew Joe Barry the most when he arrived in Green Bay earlier this year. I know we've got high praises for him. He's a player's coach, but why do you think he's been able to turn this defense into this dominant unit?
One thing I love about Joe is his ability to listen to us and let us play football to the best of our ability. If we ever have a suggestion or whatever, he listens to it right away. He adjusts right away and let us be in a position. If I feel like I want to do this to help me be a better player, Kenny feels like he want to do this, it's easier to tell him or tell our coach, and it gets done right away. And I think just that ability to be a coach and be transparent and to let your players play and let them, and you put them in the position to see at a high level and being, great at what they're best at. That's what I love about Joe Barry.
And let's talk about that sack, Selly. You do it every time, sweep the ground, big chest open. Where does that come from? What's your emotion in that moment?
Man, it's a lot of work to get a sack. Watching sacks and watching guys get sacks as a young guy in the league. You always see all the top players that get sacks or the guys getting a lot of sacks, they all have a celebration. You just can't get a sack and yell and just, flex your muscle. I was like, I got to be creative. So and I said, if I plan on getting a lot of sacks, I got to do something that they'll remember me by. So I had a long, like a 6-foot length mirror in my room in Washington, and one day I was like, man, let me just come up with a celebration, and I auditioned in front of myself, and I just tried to see. I was like, hey, let me see how do I look to myself doing the celebration before I get out in front of these thousands of fans and do the celebration. And then I finally came up with that one, and I kind of shortened it because at first I used to beat on my chest, and I used to hit the ground and beat on my chest. I was losing too much wind, and I was very winded after the celebration, so I had to cut it down to where I exert some energy, but not all my energy.
So this is the final draft of the season.
Yeah, this is the final draft. Last few years, it's been the final draft.
Preston Smith, the OG now, the locker room OG. I'm not saying your career is anywhere close to ending, but you're a little farther from the beginning. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind when guys say, yeah, I played with Preston?
Man, I just want to, what I know they're going to say is I'm probably one of the funniest teammates they ever played with in the locker room. And I just want to make sure that when I'm done, they just say I did everything the right way. That's the legacy I want to have. It don't matter about the stats. I just want them to say I did it the right way, and I'm a guy that can easily be leaned on, or I'm a guy that they can easily put anywhere, and I can be a great teammate and a great leader.
It was honestly Comedy Central sitting down with Preston Smith this week. I wish we could have aired all of it, but something we also discussed was the late John Madden. And Preston Smith grew up playing those video games, actually wanted to make one of those all Madden teams at some point in his career, but what he really loved was the 2004 cover with Michael Vick on it, because Preston Smith is a lefty just like Vick, and he hoped to be a lefty quarterback. I was shocked to learn this, and I was thinking, should we put him on the depth chart at some point? But in Smith's own words, he's grown out of that at this point, but he's really hoping to get in a trick play before he retires, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Live from Lodge Kohler across from Lambeau Field, Rachel Hopmayer, NBC 26 Sports.